What's up, football fans? Happy New Year and the last week of the NFL 2024 and now officially 2025. The last week of the season, picks and predictions. But as always, before we get underway, let's see what happened over the holidays for week number 17. The used to be last week and now, money is money. So, let's jump right in. So Kansas City obviously beat up on Pittsburgh to no one's big shocker. Baltimore ended up beating up on Houston. Honestly thought Houston would do a little better than just one safety. Not going to lie on that one. The Seattle-Chicago game might be the most boring game in all of football this season. That was abysmal. Then we follow up with the Chargers kicking the crap out of New England. Even though the Chargers are sometimes inconsistent, there was no big shock there. New England, their time is sort of over. I'll feel bad for New England fans in about another 5 seasons or so. You know what I mean? They need this. They need this little bit of a bucket of cold water, shall we say? They were doing pretty for years. Then Cincinnati beats up on Denver, not quite as handily as I thought they would, 30-24, but still, we're winning. We keep winning these games. Rams over Arizona, closer than I'd like, but to no one's big shock. Buffalo destroying the Jets because even with a washed-up Aaron Rodgers, the Jets still suck. New Orleans actually loses to Vegas, and I mean handily. So, Vegas sucks. New Orleans sucks. That was just a coin flip pick. It is what it is. I gave it to the home team. I guess I shouldn't have. It is what it is. Then the Giants do beat out. So this was one of my big upset picks. The Giants defeat Indianapolis for a big win, making up for that loss with the Raiders, making up for that win, and boom, we might be in the running to winning something, right? Right? Well, apparently, when Dallas has their backup, but, a really good, I would argue, still a good football team, and Philadelphia loses their star quarterback. You'd think that maybe Dallas can pull something off. They managed to beat the Buccaneers and stuff. Cooper Rush is learning how to use the weapons on the team. Maybe something can happen. No, I turned that game off. That was insulting in so many ways, on offensive, on defensive. I'd like to blame bad calls, bad refs. No, that was all on the Cowboys. Really, we gave the Eagles the ball many, many times. Not to take away from the Eagles' backup, forget his name. He actually did quite well. He had a couple of good long balls and stuff like that, which generally the backup, even if they've been in the league for a few years, they're a little hesitant to do more than like 20-yard passes and stuff. But he had some bombs that were accurate, good for him and stuff. But in all honesty, we were gifting the Eagles opportunity after opportunity, you know what I mean? Not to say that the Eagles wouldn't have won that game, but the 41-7 difference, a lot of those points were, here you go, we don't need the football. After that first quarter, everything just went downhill. So, unfortunately there, so I did pick 2 big upsets, as you guys know, the Giants and the Cowboys. I'm 1 for 1 on that, so sort of, unfortunately, now I'm down 2 points. And that, you will see, will make up all the difference because Tampa Bay manages to beat Carolina to no one's big shock. But Tennessee does lose as my other upset to Jacksonville. Another coin flip pick, but unfortunately that doesn't pan out. I clean up the rest of the week though, so we're only 3 losses with 1 big upset win. Not doing too shabby, you wouldn't think, because a lot of people obviously wouldn't have picked the Giants. So I'm sort of thinking I'm still in the running here. And I clean up. Miami beats Cleveland. Minnesota beats Green Bay, though that was a really good close game. Washington beats Atlanta, another game that's sort of, one possession game, whatever. And Detroit manages to beat San Francisco even at home. Though San Francisco actually had a good showing for a change. The one thing is that totals me 13 wins. 13-3. That is a great week. There were 5 people with 15 goddamn points. There are 5 people who actually only got 1 game wrong. So even when I do great, there wasn't even a chance. I wasn't even in the top 10. My own father had 14 points, and he was nowhere near them. So, yeah. So, anyways, that's week 17. I mean, it was nice to have football as always around the holiday season and stuff like that. But I mean, it is what it is, right? So 13-3, not a bad showing really, but it wasn't enough to win us a week. We have one last week here in week 18 to win it. Not to win anything because we're way too behind. We're about at least like 11 games behind the leader. So we would need a whole week to catch up. It's just not going to happen, right? So I'm out of the running anyways for the past few weeks. It's all about trying to win a week. And I thought about this, but I think other people are going to do this strategy, so I'm not doing it. A lot of people pick at least, like my usual thing, as you guys know, is to pick about 3 upsets. Try not to do all favorites. And on a coin flip, go with the lesser of the 2 coin flips. Try to get 2 or 3 upsets in there. Any given Sunday for a reason. On week 17-18, when teams are locked in and stuff like that, people aren't playing their starters. People don't care. They're already in the playoffs. They don't want their players injured. A lot of people doing the upsets, and it's not 3 or 4. It's 6 or 7. And I thought about this. And I thought about this long and hard. And I said, nope. I'm going to pick what I want to pick. I do have... I don't know if you want to consider them upsets, but I'll just tell you what I'm picking, as you guys can see. Baltimore over Cleveland for Saturday. Cincinnati over Pittsburgh for Saturday. You could argue that that's an upset. Atlanta over Carolina, Washington over Dallas, and Green Bay over Chicago. See, I'm just going with the teams here at this point. Houston over Tennessee. Houston might have sucked against Baltimore, but Tennessee is Tennessee right now, right? So Indy over Jacksonville. There's another one. Don't really know. They just lost to the Giants, and Jacksonville beat Tennessee. Neither one of these things are impressive on either side of that playing field, so I'm going with the home team once again. Buffalo over New England. So many people say New England wants that first-round pick. They're hungry for it. Buffalo isn't going to play Josh Allen, etc., etc. Don't care. It's still Buffalo. They're still going to dwarf, a team that's that bad, I would think, Philly over the Giants. Tampa Bay over New Orleans. Denver over Kansas City. That is, I would say, I'm actually betting on them again. I picked Denver. They barely lost to Kansas City last time they matched up. Denver screwed up. They had that win, and they said, no, Patrick Mahomes can't lose, so here you go. But now Kansas City has no reason to go all out, as we know. Denver's got nothing really to lose. So let's go. Denver at home over Kansas City. Another sort of upset. So Cincy over Pittsburgh, Denver over Kansas, you could argue are somewhat upsets. Chargers over Vegas is not an upset. Rams over Seattle is not an upset. And then Miami, San Francisco, and Detroit are all picked. Though I did think about Minnesota, because Detroit's got this. They're in the bag. Minnesota, it's sort of... That's going to just be a great game. That's going to be the game to watch, I think, even if they're not playing all their starters and stuff like that. I still think that the final game of the season, will be a good matchup. Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, 2 great teams, 2 great clubs. That should be a good game, even if they're not playing at full 100% capacity. Still going to be a good football game. But those are my picks for the first week of the 2020. Actually, it's so funny now, because I think last year it was the week 17 sort of bled into just the way the dates work. But this year, as I said, there's only 1 week of the 2025 season, then it's just playoffs. So at this point, that is kind of funny that we still call it the 2024-2025 season. I just find that funny. Anyways, so we will still, of course, even though I don't enter into the playoff pool, this is the end of my pool run, but I will still be going forward with telling you guys my predictions for the playoffs, and when the playoff matches are determined and stuff like that. I'll certainly be, doing my just betting on here to let you guys know what I'm picking and who I think is going to win and stuff like that. But for all intents and purposes, if I don't win this week 18, then I did fairly well in the pool, as you guys can see from the point total. Currently 15th, I think. But unfortunately, 15th isn't top 5, so it doesn't really matter. I could be in 60th or 15th. You make the same amount of money regardless, right? So, but it was a lot of fun. I didn't have a very bad season overall. I'm happy with over 170 points, almost 180 points right now. That means I did a good majority. That means I did really well. I didn't really have any real shit weeks. So, fantastic. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Once again, we will be back here for the playoffs football, of course. But once again, just hope you guys had a great holiday, great football season. Hope your team did well. My team, obviously, not so much. But I hope you guys had a great time, great New Year's, great Christmas, all that fun jazz. And yeah, so we'll see you back here for some more football picks and predictions content for the NFL once the playoffs get off the ground. So fingers crossed that I actually do well for this final week, maybe even win a little bit of money, who knows. And yeah, so watch some football, everyone. Have a good one. See you back here next time. Sayonara.